All right. So, Grace wrote a post, I think, a couple weeks ago talking about wanting book recommendations, and I have a lot because I have been doing a lot of reading this summer, which is exciting. So, I've been reading a lot of queer women writers, um, and the first one that I would recommend is, and I'm just gonna say if I mispronounce anyone's name, I'm sorry. I think it's Jeanette Winterson. So the one that I read first, Alina recommended to me, and it's called Gut Symmetries. Um, and see, I don't know if I should give away like plots. Um, I'm not gonna tell you what it's about, but I will say that her writing is really, really, really excellent. It's very beautiful, and in this particular novel, she includes a lot of stuff about like time and science, and it's all interwoven into the text in a way that's really interesting. I really, really, really like this book a lot. It's very beautiful, also very sad. I will say that I tend to read a lot of like sad things. So if that's not what you're into, you might just want to ignore my suggestions. And then I just finished her autobiography, which is called Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. And it's about how she was adopted into an evangelical family and how she sort of has to navigate her own queerness in within the confines of a family that uh, really doesn't welcome that, and it mainly focuses on her relationship with her mother and with her church. Uh, it's a pretty heavy read. It's sad, but it's also very very beautiful. Her writing is like I wish I could write like that. The next one that I have is by Arundhati Roy. It's The God of Small Things. This is the only novel that she's written, which is, in my opinion, a shame because it's really excellent. Excellent. Um, I really like this in terms of what the fuck. Sorry. In terms of the way that it's written and narrated, it's not a linear story, so there's a lot of flashbacks and going back and forth in time and things like that. Um, and I think it's also uh, I like that it talks about sort of like bigger things in India and Indian culture in terms of like communism and the class system there and stuff like that, and how it directly affects a specific family. I think the ability to take all of that and narrow it down and apply it to the lived experiences of some of the characters is really interesting. Um, and I think also it questions the way that we treat children, the way that we deal with children and their curiosities. Um, it's really, really beautiful. I highly recommend it. It's also very sad. This is the trend. Uh, so Nikki Giovanni was supposed to come to my college sometime last semester. It didn't end up happening because she fell ill, which was sad. But if you like poetry, if you like poetry written by women of color, specifically black women, um, this is really, really good stuff. Sorry, it's called My House. Um, yeah, I should actually reread some of this because it's been a while. And this is very, I need to also return this to the library. So, yeah, excellent, excellent poetry. I would recommend. Uh, Sania Sanchez, Shake Loose My Skin. Really, really good stuff here. Um, there are some essays in this, there are some poems. Um, she dabbles a lot with the way that she structures her poetry. Um, and it's all really, really, really good, really beautiful. I should also review this before I return it. Yeah, Shake Loose My Skin. Very good. Grace, you might specifically be interested in this because you're a mama. I haven't started this yet, but this is Adrienne Rich's Of Women Born, Motherhood as Experience and Institution. Um, I'm not sure when this was published. Published in 1986, so it's an older text. And again, I haven't read it, but I think she's a pretty good writer, thinker, so maybe a thing you might be into. If I do read it, I'll let you know what I think. Um, so I took a class over last semester with a professor that I hated, and all of the texts were male authors, and all of the texts involved women being like abused or brutalized by men, and it was not fun. And I didn't like a lot of the texts, but I did like Richard Powers' Galatea 2.2. Um, this is, I don't know why I like this. I will say that, like all of the other novels in the text, the male protagonist has some very creepy relationships with the women in the novel, specifically two of the women. Um, and it's super creepy, and if that's something that might make you uncomfortable, I wouldn't recommend it. Um, but this is about how um, two professors, they construct a device, essentially a computer of sorts, um, and they try to teach it about the great literary works, um, and then they're going to have it compete against Helen, who is a grad student. Um, you know how like master students have to do the exam about the text that they read. I haven't had any coffee yet, but that's a really bad summary. It makes it sound like a terrible novel. It's very interesting. It's really well written. Um, I liked it a lot. Um, and if you've noticed, most of the texts that I'm reading and have been reading are by women. Um, this is an exception. I did like it. So I just started a text called Overcoming Objectification, A Carnal Ethics by Anne J. Callan. I might want to type this out and like spell the author's names. I'll probably do that. Um, but this is super interesting. I was having a conversation with someone about, and this is something that I've written actually here, and I've been talking to Belle about, um, bodies and like feeling ashamed of having a body and wanting to cover the body and not wanting to be looked at specifically by men, um, and how it's kind of like severed me from my sexuality and my body, and there's a lot of like shame there and stuff like that. Anyways, the amazing thing about like existing in the world is that you might have anxieties and thoughts about a thing, and there might be someone who's written about it. So this like perfectly aligns with everything that I have been thinking about. Um, uh, I'm only about 5 pages in, honestly. It's an academic text, so it's pretty heavy and requires me to read and then reread. Um, let's see. What parts did I like? Unethical sexual interactions involve not the mistaking of persons for things, but the failure to recognize the embodied other as radically distinct from the self. I don't know. Her argument is that you cannot to take the stance that to be objectified is always um, or to be seen as an object or a sex object is always negative and always harmful to women. She sort of pushes back against that because she argues that we have bodies. And I'm not that far into it. I'm bad at explaining things. This is really interesting, and I'm very excited to read it. Um, Another thing that I haven't read that's been sitting on my bedside for a while, but I've been meaning to read. Is there anything else over here? I have so many books. I love books. Oh yeah, this is interesting. So I've read a couple of essays from this. Um, this was lended to me some time ago. This is Words of Fire. It's an anthology of African American feminist thought. Um, it is quite lengthy, um, but it starts with essays from like the 1830s to the 1900s, and then it goes all the way up to um, talking about black nationalist ideologies. There's stuff about sexuality and violence, black women claiming feminism, black womanhood. Um, Again, I've only read a couple of essays. Uh, I think the thing that I'm gonna do is probably start reading 2 essays a day or something from this because it's really excellent. Who do we have in here? Cheryl Clark, Patricia Hill Collins, Angela Davis, Bell Hooks. Um, Lots of names that I don't know, which is a shame. Um, but yeah, Alice Walker. This is a cool thing that we should all read. We should all read this. Oh, a text that I don't have that I really, really want to buy. I read this Winter Vacation um, last year. Um, Audre Lorde's Zammy, A New Spelling of My Name. It's an autobiography. Um, it's excellent. You gotta read it. It's so good. It's probably one of my favorite things that I've ever read. She talks about her relationship with her mother. She talks about her relationship with women. She talks about being black and moving through the world. She talks about navigating her queerness, and it's all really, really so beautiful. It's really excellent. Um, this person has sent me 5 text messages, and I bet they're. Oh, I can't. So yeah, I think Belle. Also, you asked about music. Um, I don't know if you're into her, but Florence and the Machine put out an album. You were specifically asking for music that got put out this year. I, I don't know. I don't really listen to what the kids listen to. Florence and the Machine put out an album. It's really good. I highly recommend it. It's on Spotify if you have it. Um, Kalani, if you don't know who she is, she's pretty fantastic. She put out an EP. Yeah, she put it out this year. It's called You Should Be Here. It's really good. Um, she has a song called First Position, where she sings about making love to a lady. She's a queer woman, so that's pretty cool. You should check that out. Who else have I been listening to? I don't know. Do you have Spotify, Belle? If you do, you could add me because I have a lot of playlists. Oh, um, I don't know if this falls into the realm of like 2015, but if you haven't dabbled with like Nigerian music or Afrobeat music or anything like that, you should check it out because it's. I know you like to dance, so this is good stuff. I would suggest Burna Boy, Ayana. Um, oh, there are some great women who sing too. Davido is good. Check out the song. I'm gonna mispronounce it. It's the spelling is Aye. Um, let's see. Who else am I listening to? I listen to a lot of older stuff. Yeah, I already said Davido, right? Ooh, check out the song by Lisa Fisher if you have it. It's called "How Can I Ease the Pain." Definitely not from 2015, but it's oh my god, amazing vocals, so good. Um, let's see. Who else? Looking at my playlist. Looking at my playlist. Um, yeah, all of the music I listen to is like early 90s stuff mostly. Because let's be real, the best music. So there's a song by Shay Shay. Padaranking. I'm so mispronouncing this. It's called Murda. It's really good. You should also listen to the song Tangerine by Yemi Alade. So sorry. Um, yeah, these are all good songs to dance to. Let's see. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, and the song "Stuck on You" by Joss Stone is pretty much on constant rotation, which I'm sure is annoying to my neighbors. Um, here is a cat. This is Miss Marie. We're gonna go now. I hope that those recommendations help. If anyone has any books that they think that I would like, I like sad things. I like things that make me cry. I like academic work. I like poetry. I like books about queerness. I like academic work about like race, gender, sexuality. Um, yeah, don't recommend male writers to me. I don't care. I don't have time. Goodbye.